Okay, well, gosh, we're here with Extracted Season 2 champions, the Wilson and
Yay.
Reynolds family. RJ is with us. Welcome to Catching Up with Cathy. Oh my gosh, you guys, we're going to be all over the place, but tell us a little bit about yourselves, who you are, and why did you guys want to be on the show? RJ, you start.
Okay. I would say being on the show for me just meant really proving to myself that I had the abilities and the wherewithal to kind of survive out there, with nothing. For my family, I think I'm the person that they all kind of rely on, that if anything happens, they're like, yo, find him and then we'll be good. So it was really a test for
I'm
me to
happy
see,
you know.
it was a test for me to see if I could actually do that and, kind of wear that responsibility of, hey, I have to take care of the family and make sure that we're all good. And then in terms of about me, I'm a big outdoorsy guy. I love going to national parks. I've been to like 23. I love road trips, and I really just want to share my passion for the outdoors with the world.
Yeah, that really came through in the show. Of course, you were really grounded with the ground and all the terrain that was in northern Canada there,
Animals.
northern Ontario. What about you,
Yeah.
Michaela? Tell us a little bit about your, background. Let our viewers know who you are. Who is this family?
Well, I'm not grounded with the ground. Let's just start there. So, never been camping, don't plan on going camping. So, being out in the wilderness is just not like who I am, but it's who RJ is. So, we support that.
Yeah.
But I am everything reality TV. So, I love reality TV. So, when I saw it, I knew I was like, you know what? I think RJ would be really good at this. And this is something that's right up his alley. And I think I can handle HQ. I think I'm pretty strategic. So, yeah, but I'm all just about, I always say choose kindness. So we're always just, our family is just about just loving one another and being that family unit. And we're really glad that it showed through the screen that we are a very close knit, tight family unit, and we're just there to support each other. And I am very glad that RJ does know that if the apocalypse come, I'm just waiting for him to come and find me.
Yes, yes. And then we
I'm
added
not
you
prepared.
enlisted your sister in this HQ scenario.
She was
what
a
Yeah,
default.
was
I got
okay? What happened? Like she called you, hey, you want to be on the show with us?
no, she
No.
actually called my mother
Yeah.
first, right? She thought my mother was going to be the go-to partner for her in this. But my mother declined and actually said that, hey, no, 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 I'll watch your son while you go on the show, Tanisha. And so that's how I got chosen to go on the show.
We're going to go
So
into a little bit of family dynamic because obviously RJ was a little bit, in the dark really when he was out there because he's out there on his own and everything, and the two of you were inside. I felt like your aunt had your back. Honestly, your mom was not going to
Hmm.
be extracting you. It didn't matter how sore those legs were. There were some moments in the show where I thought this guy is not going to make it. He is not going to make it. And then you totally
mhm.
surprised all of us, and there you were in the last two, 25 days in. uh, Tell us, I know that you have experience in the outdoors, but a lot of people don't. So were you expecting what you saw? Did you encounter some bears? Did you know what to do to be a survivalist? Like what kind of greens to eat out there, etc. What did you know? How did you go in equipped?
I really relied on, sorry, my dogs are going
We can't
crazy.
hear it. We can't hear anything.
Okay, good, good, good.
Mhm.
I really relied on my ability to kind of just show grit, show toughness, show mental toughness. In terms of going on the show, I did not expect how brutal the hiking and the physical activity was going to be.
Mhm.
I was thinking maybe 3 miles a day or 4 miles a day, but walking 6, 7 miles just to, get to an empty crate was beyond me, beyond all things that I could have imagined in going
Yeah.
into this. And then also just in terms of the survival aspect, building a shelter, I had an idea of what I wanted to build going into it, and that idea just did not come to fruition. Unfortunately, there are some rules, and I think I did the best I could with what I was given.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in an ideal world, my shelter would look completely different.
And so, Michaela, you're watching your son. He's out there. There's those moments that he's having that are a little difficult to watch. And you know, you're really staying true to you. And did you guys have a code word or anything? We're actually going to talk about the code in a little
Mhm.
bit. But was there something like during the show? I know we're going to bounce and everything, but you know, you're on the show, you're looking at the other families that are there. I'm sure you're measuring up some kind of who's the competition going to be for RJ. Do we actually have this till the end? Um, you talk about your faith a little bit as well. If faith and family are really important to you guys, did that carry you in the show and knowing and wanting RJ to be in the finals? Really, you were in the finals with Rhoman.
Yeah. One thing that, they say, what do you wish they would have shown? One thing I wish they would have shown is how often Tanisha and I prayed for discernment. We prayed for discernment before we made every decision, before every choice. So we were active in our faith, asking God, is this the correct decision? Should we do this? Should we do that? So throughout the show, we knew that RJ was going to be underestimated. We knew that we were going to be underestimated, and we were okay with people underestimating us because they didn't know that his superpower is his mental toughness. When we went on, he's like, I'm just going to go on and I'm going to embrace the suck. I know it's going to suck and I'm just going to embrace it. And as long as, and he's laughing because it's the truth. So
Yeah.
when we say, did he prepare? He knew he was going to embrace the suck. He's played football. He knows what it's like in hot heat in Texas, football time. Like, it's no fun. It's gonna suck, but he knows that there's a means to the end of that. And so we knew that going in. We also know, yes, we did have a code word. His code word was his Bronco. He's an avid Bronco adventurous. So his name of his Bronco is Obsidian. So we knew that he could say extract to me as many times as he wanted. He can vent, he could cry, he can scream, he can yell. But until he said Obsidian, we knew
Obsidian,
that it was, I don't want to say all for show, but it was a way for him to release his frustration.
Mhm.
And it did not mean he was close to
Mhm.
actual extraction.
Mhm. Mhm. Tanisha, we saw that you butted heads with your sister a little bit during the show. I felt like you were the more of the person of reason. There was moments where Makala would walk off to the room and then you would be there and you'd listen to what RG was saying and you were kind of contemplating, like, just be honest, was that an act or were you like really like, oh man, maybe we do need to extract because you knew that unless he said that word, he wasn't
yeah.
ready to go yet. So tell me a little bit about you and your sister and what that bond is like. Is it stronger now?
Oh, wow. I mean, yeah, thank you for the question. But yeah, it's absolutely, stronger now just to start there. But then, looking back on that day and those moments, they were completely real, right? It was over a span of 9 hours, right? Where we're watching RJ walk to an empty crate half of that time and then in pain the rest of the time through dark, right? And so that watching him and then watching my sister react and kind of not want to watch this happen was real, right? And then being able to really try to assess, is this enough, is this too much? Yes, we have our code word, but we see what's ahead, we see the terrain, we see what's happening, so we ultimately also still have a responsibility to RJ to not let him suffer, not let something. So we still have to assess, even though there's obsidian on the table, we still, it was real. I was, if he said get me out of there, I'm done, and never got back up from that crate, then we would have pushed, I would have pushed for them to get him out right then at that moment,
Mhm.
for
There
sure.
were there were some moments we saw, like with Doug, for example, like he was completely done. Polly, yourself, and RJ were in the lead, as well as Luke. Luke's family played a few tricks and some underhanded things, but I feel you guys really stayed true to who you were. Sure, you're gonna walk away and you're gonna do this and that. Michaela, you did a lot of talking. You kind of inserted yourself in some of the other families' situations, and they were, you be quiet, get out of my business. You saw that, right, RJ? Like you got to watch a show. You know
Yeah.
what your mom did. We watched the same show. So, how did you feel? Like, are you a combative person, or like, did you want to tell them where to go? Like, how did you feel when they were telling you to get out of their business? Because obviously, you needed to. show up for RJ. You know, you were the ones, the two of you, getting him what he needed out there, whether that was hydration, whether that was warmth, whether that was a sleeping bag, you name it. So, how did you feel when they were telling you to stay out of my business, don't get involved, and all of that stuff?
Well, first off, it wasn't their business, right? So they were inserting themselves, which is why I was like, no, you guys don't, you have nothing to do with this. Stay out.
Yeah.
So the incident that you're talking about is when Carly and Emily took Polly's blanket, and the brothers decided that they wanted to have what they did not lose anything. They were not affected. So if anyone should be asking questions, it should be Lindsay. It should be Polly's family. It even could be Amy's family and our family, because we're the ones that didn't have a blanket. So we're trying to figure out, why didn't you want to give the blankets to RJ or Amy? They don't have one, or I'm sorry, the sleeping bag. So those families are the families that are directly involved. And so what, you know, the show doesn't show is everything that led up to that.
Right.
So the bottom line is they were sitting down. You had a bunch of people asking them the same questions over and over and over again. They kept giving the answer. And at some point, enough is enough. I wouldn't want that for anyone. I wouldn't want that for myself.
Mhm.
So that's when I said, okay, you guys, enough is enough. Like, and then you saw the reaction after that.
But this is your character, right? This is what you would do in day to day, wouldn't it? Would you not?
Correct.
Like, if you saw something going wrong, you'd be like, "Hey, that's wrong. That's not
and
right."
correct." And I never said that you don't have a right to ask questions. I said how we do things matter, and that's what I kept saying over and over again. How we do it matters. It does not mean that you don't have the right to say whatever you want to say or get the questions that you want answered, but how we do it matters. We all live together, you guys. So let's just figure out a way to do this respectfully and move on with our day. And they didn't like that. They felt like I was inserting myself in the situation. And so then that's when the cattiness and the nastiness. If you see, I never raised my voice. I just said, hey, y'all, this doesn't look right. Let's look at this from a different angle. Let's try. And it is what it is.
Yeah,
So,
and you don't regret any of that.
not a single second.
No. So what's the first thing you did after winning?
Are you asking me
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
the first thing?
It was such a beautiful moment. You know, and it was just the two of you. Everybody knew it was the two of you. Did you know you were near the end? Did you know, like, there's just got to be a couple of other people here? I'm very close.
Yeah, so they did give us kind of an announcement to let us
Yes.
know it was Roman and I, and you saw both of our reactions. We were
Yeah.
like, dude, this is gonna suck. We were both honestly happy. We were like, anybody else, I wouldn't want to be against but you.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of that question, I did get to see Luke and Polly both swim to their islands. I think up until I got that notification from production that it was just Roman and I had a feeling that Doug was still in the game. I didn't know he went home before the whole island shenanigans happened.
Yeah.
But as for the first thing I did, it was call my girlfriend. I remember just sitting in the car, like as soon as we got service, I called her and I just said hello, and then we just both started crying. And that was pretty much it.
Yeah, you
Just
talked about her.
not
You
a
talked
single
about her a
word.
little bit, you know, during the
Hmm.
show. I think the big gameplay for you guys, honestly, was the island that you were on. I think Tanisha and your mom both. I felt that that was a detrimental mistake for another family, but at the end of the day, the map is the map. One person's further away, you're closer. You guys made this because you knew he couldn't maybe handle another, you know, a swimming, wasting calories and energy and all that. He just kind of like, it just looked like you just walked around and here you were, just step over.
It didn't look like it because he did.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, so
That
that was a major like strategic gameplay, whether you guys knew it was or not. Makala and Tanisha, was that strategic for you guys, or did you just luck of the draw? That's the one he was getting.
No, well, that's the one we chose. And Lindsay, they chose their island. It was close. I don't know if you could tell like where they were at. RJ and Roman were on opposite ends of the lake.
Yes.
So RJ was on the south side, Norman was on the north side.
Yes.
So Roman's island was north and RJ's island was south. So if Lindsay chose RJ's island, they would have had to cross. And we're like, there's no way we're sending them on a 3-hour hike. Like, we're just going to choose the island that's closest to us. And that's just kind of how it happened. Because even though Rhoman had to get in the water, his island was still really close. I mean, he was only in the water for a very short time. So it was still the best decision for them.
So
and ours was the best decision for us. So yeah.
The first thing you did, RJ, you called your girlfriend. How about Tanisha and Makala? What did you guys do?
First thing I did was call my son. Called him, and no contact for what, 30 plus days. He's 5 years old. I tried to catch him. I missed him a lot. Then I was thrilled to actually have a night alone in my hotel room. Okay. When my sister actually said she wanted to stay the night with me also that night. And she didn't want to sleep across the hall. I was happy for my night alone.
Yeah. No, I didn't like that. Like when we left, they gave us 3 separate rooms, and we're like, we've been with each other for 5 weeks now. So now all of a sudden I have to sleep in this big hotel room all by myself. It just didn't feel right. So I was like, nobody wants to
I was
bunk with
happy.
me.
I was free. Like, yay.
Has your I would have been happy too.
RJ
Has
was,
your life,
yeah.
how have things changed for you? How have things changed? Tanisha, you start.
Nothing's really changed too much in my life. I mean, as far as I'm still a mom. I'm still, a financial advisor, right? I'm still day to day doing the things that I need to do. But I have a great story right behind me. I have a great experience. I have another way to communicate with people, and talk about something that was, that I'll remember forever, right? And my son is still talking about, can we do Extracted? We from the parties we threw, just a memorable experience. So I don't think that anything's changed. We're just, still kind of living in, just the freshness and the newness of what's happened, and really trying to soak it in, before looking to actually the changes, from it, just still soaking it in, Cathy.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. RJ?
I would say I'm right there with her.
You have a ranch that we need to get to. You have still talk about this ranch that you were talking about the whole time.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll touch base on that here. But for the most part, I'm still soaking it in. I think I really wanted to take a little bit of time to, spend with Raquel, coming home, being away for so long. I think it was the second time that year that I was gone for a month plus. So I felt really bad.
Yeah.
But overall, I would say the only real changes in my life is things are moving a lot faster. I did kind of say that in one of my interviews is this money isn't going to change my life a whole lot besides move up my timeline. And so I'm happy to be, on the Autobahn now instead of, your red light, one light town.
I love that. I love that. Makala, what about you?
I mean, same as Tanisha. I mean, life hasn't really changed that much. I'm a bank manager, so my customers come in and they say, I saw you on TV. We saw you. And then like, oh my gosh, we didn't know you actually won. But other than that, the people that actually know us, life is the same. There hasn't been any huge detrimental or extravagant thing that's happened to us since coming off the show. Yeah, besides the memories that we have as far that we got to have as a family. I mean, that memory when we got to go to his island, well, it's like forever embedded in my brain. Like it was one of the top probably moments of my life, just being able to look at him and say, you did it. You did it. So
yeah. How incredible. I'm getting goosebumps just imagining those moments.
Yeah, it was a good moment.
I bet. I mean, mom to mom. We're all moms except you, RJ.
Yeah.
One day be a dad, maybe, if you want. So what surprised you the most about watching yourselves on TV? Because you never really know, like you said, the praying part never made the cut. And we're going to talk about you unlocking your code of, with the crate in those last moments, how it looked like it took forever. Is it this? Is it that? And your mom was getting all exasperated. She's like, oh man, how does he not know? And we'll talk about that. But what were some of those surprising moments when you watched on TV? Makala.
Surprising. I don't know about when I watched on TV, but I guess how comfortable I was in the experience was pretty surprising. So having the interviews, going to Annex, all of that, being mic'd up, I surprisingly took that very well. I know there are some people that were anxious and they didn't like the mics, and it was like very like claustrophobic. They just felt like they were being watched all the time. Surprisingly, I was okay in that environment. But as far as watching myself on TV, I guess I did have some funny one-liners. I was like, oh, I guess I didn't realize I was that funny. So maybe that was a little surprising.
Okay, okay. How about you, Tanisha? Did you see anything that surprised yourself when you watched it back?
Well, I was a little bit surprised at some of the feedback that said that I was calm and handled myself pretty well. I was like inside, I was going a million miles per hour through all kinds of things, and I feel like they caught me also in some moments that were just a lot of things going on in my head and running through. So just me seeing myself be kind of portrayed as kind of more calm and strategic, I was like, okay, that was somewhat surprising for
Yeah,
me.
I think
Kathy?
I think your
Oh.
whole family, sorry, I think your whole family was on the calmer side. Like
Yeah.
you did look more, in like I would not I couldn't do calm. I'd be super
Hmm.
anxious and I'd be breathing in and out and hopefully not fainting.
Yeah.
If you're making those right decisions, because it felt like you had to make decisions very quickly. Is what we
Yes.
saw what happened? Were there a lot of
Yes.
quick
Yeah.
decisions? I mean, that 3 minute clock is 3 minutes, right? It's not 30 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Correct.
yeah,
Yeah, that is
exactly.
all. They give us the rules and then they say clock starts. And then it just all of a sudden you see a clock pop up there and it starts counting down. And you're like, whoa, this is happening right now. So yeah, that is all real. But I was gonna say, if I could say something that I was surprised to see about Tanisha was how social she was. So I came in thinking I was going to be the gamer, right? She was going to be the strategic mind. I was going to be the gamer. But
Okay,
watching
that
it
was
back and
fun.
when we were in it, like she literally started graduating and she was like, okay, I got the hang of this. I'm going to make the friends. I'm going to play the social game. I'm going to. So yeah, so we kind of swap. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that was very interesting to see.
That
So,
was a shift. That
yeah,
was
so
fun. Yeah.
you're a financial planner type. Like, don't you kind of have
Yes.
to be this way? Like, are you more of an introvert, Tanisha?
I'm definitely more of an introvert, I would say, just the way that I process information and relate to people. But yeah, I enjoyed this experience. I enjoyed the people that we played the game with, that we are in HQ with. I enjoyed learning about them and their families and the dynamics and watching that play out on screen right in front of me. It's like I lived the interactive experience, right? So
Right, right.
I just tried to immerse myself in it, and it was great to play with my sister, right? Who
Mhm.
this is, like she says, this is her world, right? She knows these some of these people. She's seen them in action, and so she's giving me the true inside play by play as I'm inside of the game, and so it was
Right.
just a great experience.
That's fantastic. Now with RJ, outside of them telling you there's two competitors left, it's you and Roman. Let's just back up because mom and aunt, they kind of know what's going on in HQ. They know who's gone, they know who's still there. There was some conversation, Michaela, that you had with Lindsay about that water being contaminated. I've learned that the lake water was not contaminated, like staff was drinking that water, okay? So we learned
Not
that.
staff.
So at what point do you guys, been talking to your aunt and your mom here, did you think, oh my gosh, we actually we have a chance here. We might have a chance. Like we are there. Well, like where were you? Like what was the situation like?
Think when Dougie was going home, I think I thought, I was like, okay, we could bring this home, right? Because that was final five, right?
Yeah.
When we got there, and so yeah, that was a turning point for me. I was like, okay, I really think we have a great chance here, and then the cards fell where they fell.
Yeah, everyone just seemed to be like dropping off as flies. Were you We'll talk about Luke in a second, but Makala, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm gonna be honest, I always like knew that we were gonna win. Like in my
Yeah.
heart,
Well, that
like
too.
I always knew that it was a done deal. Like I didn't there was not a point where I actually thought that we could not win. Um I know it looks like when RJ was making that long hike, and I was like, okay, let me go pack because we really did pack. But there's still something inside of me that was like, okay, maybe he has something left in him. And sure enough, he did. Thank God he did. But I was prepared. I am a planner. So I was like, okay, if he says it's time to go, I don't want to be here for one more second. I want to be ready to go. But I but when Doug left and then we're down to 5 and I knew we still had our intercept card, I knew we
Yes.
were
Yes.
really, really, really sitting pretty. And when I saw what that last challenge was and everyone had to go to their island and RJ had all, I was like, yeah, we kind of got this in the bag.
Well, you had a lot of resources, RJ, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had a
Yes,
lot. Yeah,
yeah.
you could have been there for like much more, much longer, where Roman didn't. Roman didn't have water. There was this big thing about the water, and I was like, look at Makala putting things into Lindsay's head. Here we are.
No, see, that's editing. Lindsay was coming to
No,
me, talking to me about the water, and I was just going along with what she was saying. But no, true. Woody got sick. Woody was in Canada and he got sick last season, so I don't know anything about any water. I truly, truly, truly thought that there was stuff in that water that they could not drink that would make them
Yeah,
sick.
season
That's
season one,
honestly true.
someone was very sick in season one. It's true. It's
Correct. Yeah.
totally
So
true.
I don't
Um,
know Canada water. It's river water. That's our lake water. That's all I know. So
what
you're not supposed to drink it.
what was your most strategic move?
um, beyond the intercept card, I mean that was a strategic move. Let me think.
I think our relationships were just strategic.
Mm.
I think that the relationships that we built that they don't show. We were in a relationship with Doug's family, the sisters, Katie's family. When I say relationship, I don't mean like relationship, y'all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
So you're talking
yeah,
about your alliances.
our
You had
alliances were
alliances with these
very
people. Yeah.
strong, and I don't really like to use the word alliance because alliance means like, for the game we were building true relationships. So whether you consider that to be strategic or not, like these people, Lindsay, I talked to her regularly. I was on the phone with her 2 hours the other night. So these are real relationships that we formed, and that probably was the best part of our game, because when it came down to people needing to fire shots at other people, RJ's name was never, no one ever brought up RJ's name.
Mm-hmm. We
And
see.
then I'd say too, to that strategy is, we learned and we only pushed for like first in line for the one time when we really felt like we had to, and it
Yeah.
was in our best interest to. But knowing that, being maybe third, fourth, in line was probably the best place we could ever be strategically, so we started not really trying to vie for first or last, just kind of land somewhere in the middle, is kind of where we started to play the game as well. It worked out for us.
Mm-hmm. Because first, something always seemed to happen with the first, and something happened with the last all the time.
Yeah.
Either you were first, then you'd go last, and you're like, "Oh, damn, we screwed that one up." Or last,
Yeah.
just went. Yeah, they always give you
Yeah.
these
And
different.
Yeah,
we
they got
and
us.
we
They got
learned,
us one time.
yeah, they did get us. And we learned that if you went first, people remembered. They're like, oh, well, you went first last time, so you got to go last this time.
Yeah, you lose
So
a
it
little
was like, you
power.
know what? Let's just stay in the middle so no one ever really remembers. Did we go first? Did we go last? Okay, we just kind of stayed in this third or fourth spot.
Very cool.
And
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think you stayed under the radar for as long as you
Mhm.
could,
Yeah, I
and
think so too.
where you
Mhm.
didn't make noise, you didn't say, "Hey,
Mhm.
look at me, I'm all that." RJ was not like season one first eliminator, that little 18-year-old punk that told his parents to get him out, get him out, get him out, and he didn't want to spend one more day there. I think the humbleness of things really played an important role. Being cocky in this game doesn't get you anywhere, and that's whether you're inside or outside. Would you guys agree?
I would agree.
Yeah.
100%.
Mhm.
Let's
Mhm.
talk about your instincts or second guessing, where, when you guys were making those moves inside, did you feel like you got with your gut, or was that sort of God speaking to you both? Or how do you sort of think that you did you misstep in any way and you think, darn, I wish we would have done it this way and not that way?
I mean, I feel like we won, so we didn't make any mistakes, right? If something would have been different, then maybe we wouldn't have won. So,
Yeah.
all the moves that we made were ordained for us to win the way that we won, right? So every step that we did, if we would take one thing away, then maybe something else wouldn't have happened the way that it did. So I shouldn't say mistakes, but everything aligned the way it was supposed to align.
I mean, it did sit with me. It all worked out, in the end, but it sat with us, not choosing the sleeping bag from the beginning, right? And watching them go those 10, 11, 12 nights and knowing that we could have
17.
got them 17. Yes. And knowing that we could have got them a sleeping bag. I mean, it did eat with me a little bit, but it was a greater cause, a greater sacrifice. But if there was ever something to see that pathway forward, if we would have ended up still victorious, I don't know if we would have chosen the sleeping bag.
I mean,
we would not have.
Just depends.
That could not you, but Michaela's going to say no. Don't even think about that. We ended up winning at the end. Had he had a sleeping bag, he might not have gotten something else.
He wouldn't have got the flint. We would have been one of the families that had to not get the flint.
That's right.
So we would have. The reason why he got the flint, or is it a flint, RJ?
Like was this one?
The ferro rod. Yeah, the reason why we got a ferro rod and no one said anything to me about us stepping back was because he didn't have a blanket or a sleeping bag.
Yeah.
So I easily said, my son has no warmth. And they're like, yep, RJ gets a ferro rod. RJ's one of the ones that gets one. So if we would have had that sleeping bag, he wouldn't have gotten a ferro rod. We would have been one of the families stepping out. So
RJ, did you find this game more physically challenging or emotionally challenging? And there's also a mental aspect to it too. There's actually 3 there. My question was about physicality and emotion.
Physically, I think I was fine. It was rough. I was the heaviest I've ever been in my entire life going into it. I put on 20 pounds. It was close to 300 pounds whenever I got out into the wilderness. And that was rough for about the first week or 2. And then once I shed off all the extra weight, I was back to where my body was normal and my nervous system was firing on all cylinders. I think emotionally, the game was really hard. I think a lot of people don't see how much reality TV can play an impact on your emotional health. And then mentally, I guess it's kind of half and half. I think mentally I was okay. I did a lot of introspection and a lot of self-exploration, which I needed, I would say. And that really kind of surprised me on how much I could kind of introspect and connect with people who weren't there. And then for the most part, I would just say overall it was a great experience. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
All stars.
All stars. I heard season 3 is going to be all stars. What was the hardest day of filming?
Oh,
was there a hard day?
Day 20.
Day 20. What makes that so memorable?
That was a hike. That was the 9-hour hike. That was probably I got right up against my breaking point. Like, I don't think I've ever been pushed that hard mentally, and really emotionally too in my life.
Day 20. I cried the whole day.
Oh, yeah. So hard.
Tough day.
Everybody that was watching, I'm sure, we're also in tears, Were there conversations besides you guys praying, let's say, that we didn't see on camera?
Oh, lots of conversations. Conversations with just the HQers. Like, we had lots of conversations. Lindsay and I, we talked about like our upbringings, very similar. When it came to like our relationships and things of that sort. We talked a lot with Dayton and Alec, Emily and Carly. So just those relationships. we played a lot of games out at the fire pit as a one huge HQ family that they didn't show. So there's a lot that if you think we're being recorded 24 hours a day. I mean, even when we're in our bed sleeping. So, and it gets reduced down to 1 hour a week.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of conversations that are missed. There's a lot of context that is missed. There's a lot that's going on in HQ and out in the wilderness.
I can't
I'd
believe
say there was always strategy and conversation and gameplay being had, from, 7 a.m. to, 12 p.m., a.m., 1 a.m. at night. There was always little pockets of people strategizing and talking and sharing information. So the game never really did stop. So there's a lot of conversations that they didn't have a chance to air. They didn't have a chance to, well, yeah, they didn't have a chance to air it. So.
Yeah, I would say, especially on the survivalist side as well, there's a lot of conversations that we had with our families in HQ that didn't get aired. I had a poll that I would ask my mom every day, a new one. I'm like, does everybody like pancakes or waffles, Wingstop or Buffalo Wild Wings, and just kind of go back and forth and
Pineapple
try
in
to,
your pizza or
Well,
not.
they didn't do that, but they kept showing the damn tooth that was getting decayed. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I saw you guys ate a lot during this season. Okay, there's a lot of food. If I was RJ, I'd be really pissed as you guys were fattening up in there. Because what else are you going to do while he's shedding the weight and struggling? 9-hour hikes. That's crazy. Did they feed you well at least? Mostly.
I mean, we had all of our meals. We had really good snacks. But we had a lot of food. We had our breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then we had snacks galore. So pretty much anything. If we wanted a snack, we could ask, and they would find a way to get it to us. Besides wine, we didn't get wine.
You didn't get to drink?
No wine.
No wine.
We asked every night, 24 nights of asking.
Oh my goodness.
We never got it.
No beer.
So you talked about, RJ, you talked about, growing up, and you talked about the kids that are out there that, weren't so social. They didn't belong to the popular, crowds, for example. We called them misfits. This is your words. And you talked about having this ranch for them where they could all come and feel like they belong to something bigger. And that's where you wanted the money to go. Is that where the money's going?
Yeah, sorry, 1 second. My girlfriend just came home and the dogs are going crazy.
Okay.
Okay, this one outside. Yes, the money is definitely going there. We're doing our best to set up the framework right now, and I think with my aunt here helping me guide me, with her financial advisor skills, and then my mom here is a support and the foundation of it all and the root of my upbringing. I think we have a really good team to get this off the ground, and I'm excited to see where it goes in the next 3 months to a year.
So is it Reynolds? There's Reynolds Rance Foundation, and there's also, what is Libero? Am I saying it right?
Yes, Libera.
Libera.
That actually, I'll focus on the Libera part first. That actually comes from a phrase that I kind of took on, I would say, in my late teens, early 20s. It's Libera Anima Vestra, which means free your soul in Latin. And so Libera Misfits is just free misfits, just finding freedom, finding peace in the society. And then for Reynolds Ranch, the foundation that we're starting, that's going to be the nonprofit side of it all. And that's where really I want to kind of have a mentorship program for a select few of kids who are looking to really, get out of their situation in life, or, take a step away from whatever hardships they're facing and be able to connect through nature with themselves and the world around them.
Yeah, it was a beautiful, beautiful story. And I really hope when this all does come to fruition that these kids get to spend time on the ranch and really just, in Italian, if you're talking about Latin, libero means to be free. It's that freedom that you feel when you're out there and you have no encumbrances. No one's going to judge you. No one's going to care what color you are, who you are. He, she, him, they. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I think that's what you were trying to sort of share and portray, and sort of, everyone should belong somewhere.
Correct.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that, what would you say all of you that extracted season 2 taught you?
Patience.
I was thinking that. So I
Oh my
had to
gosh,
think about
right?
something else.
You
Let
need
me think.
patience.
It
Oh man.
definitely taught me patience. Yeah, for sure. Hmm. How to bite my tongue.
Were you guys surprised when Luke was extracted?
No.
No.
No,
No.
Okay.
No.
We knew it
no.
was a kill shot. We were saving it. We knew it. Like there's no way.
He
I
was
mean,
he
yeah. Not surprised at
everybody
all.
was going everybody was going down too. It was pretty gruesome game, towards the end. So, we knew who was getting stronger and who could last and who may not.
Yeah, I think when you're watching, from the outside, like I don't have a reality TV show sort of spectrum on things. Maybe Michaela, you might, because if you're watching so many, you might know what moves that other players are going to make, and then you might be right. You're like, oh, I knew that. From us looking on the outside, um, knowing now what I know, Luke didn't have any resources and he had the smallest island with nothing. So he was going to be kind of blowing in the wind, really, with nothing. When they
Correct.
extracted Polly, like she wasn't going to really survive much longer either because they knew what the resources that she had. And so is it because of these things? Like you weren't surprised that he was extracted because he didn't have anything. He had a twig. He didn't have anything.
Correct. Which he couldn't touch, mind you. So it was a protected twig.
Sure.
So he couldn't even chop that twig if he wanted to. So yeah, just be when we saw the islands and we saw it is literally called Dead Man's Island. Like it's called
Yeah.
Dead Man's Island for a reason. And so when we knew we were sending him to Dead Man's Island with zero resources, we knew that that was probably going to be the end of his game. Yes.
And we knew at that moment that we chose the islands because we knew we had the intercept card. So we
Mhm.
knew we were going
Yes.
to take his supplies. And so
Yes.
we knew the position that everybody
You
was
have
going to
that
be
that big
in. And
advantage.
yeah.
How did you feel when Dallas was duped and Lindsay were duped with the, fake card there? And they did all those things they did with Roman and sending him all that information in hopes that he would get everything back. I didn't think that that would be allowed. That's kind of a big lying thing. However, I mean, in the game, of course, he got everything back, and so that was how they made it fair. But um, I felt like you guys stayed away from that. What were you feeling like internally? Because you didn't say too much about what was happening. Michaela, why don't you start?
I mean, I just felt like you guys are supposed to. Well, at this point, they were just attacking RJ, RJ, RJ. So there's a lot that we was just not shown. So they were going after RJ like full throttle. And they were trying to get others to go after RJ, and they couldn't penetrate it. But so inside, I was fuming because you are supposed to be in an alliance with Lindsay and Dallas and Rhoman. These are supposed to be your guys's alliance members. You guys are supposed to be working together. And for you guys to do that to them was just, I just felt like it crossed the line of, I don't want to say it was like not moral because it's all, it's a game.
It's a game, but
It's a game, but these were supposed to be your alliance. Like it felt mean. It felt mean spirited. That's how it felt to me. It just felt mean because what was the point? There was no like what was and that's what we kept saying. What did you guys think was gonna happen? Did you
Yeah.
think that production
Yeah.
was going to come and pick up his crate and take his fire away?
Yeah.
No, so all of this had no ending. So it just felt mean.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was mean spirited.
It,
It showed that it was
yeah.
mean spirited, and there's no integrity there. I mean, you
Yeah.
didn't say the word, but yeah.
Mainly too, like I felt bad mainly too because up to that point, I feel like Lindsay and Dallas really still somewhat trusted them. Like they really trusted, them
Yeah.
up to that point. And so when that happened, it was like they kind of saw that yeah, you really shouldn't be trusting them, So it just felt messy because we were watching it and we're seeing them really have trust in what they're saying, and then we're seeing them like actively stab them in the back, right? So it's like this is not adding up.
And you're like, for what reason? That's what we could not Like what was your end game? Like if you're gonna make a move, but at least have an end game. So
I know.
we're like, what
Yeah.
is the end game?
Exactly.
And so that's what I couldn't understand. And that's why I keep saying it was mean, because like, did you think it all the way through? Like you
No, they
impacted
didn't.
her being able to have a conversation with her son. You see Roman over there making a spoon because he thinks he's gonna get food. And in the end, like he gets his belongings back and you cause all of this chaos. And maybe that's what they wanted. They just wanted to cause the chaos for the sake of causing the chaos.
Yeah, getting
Yeah,
them
they
off
thought
their
the
game.
emotional, getting them off the game, get the
Mhm.
emotional psyche of it, just being embarrassed. They're gonna be so embarrassed they're gonna run off the show, right?
Yeah, I would have
That's the way they think.
yeah, I would have lost my shit. Lindsay was very calm when she came out there and
Yeah.
wanting to know who
Yeah.
did what and who rifled through my desk and who's doing
Hmm.
this. And I'm just like, girl, you need like I'd be livid. I would have given them that
How
would
would you
be
react, Kathy? I mean, what would be your
oh,
response if they
I'd
did
freak
that to
out. I
you?
would be like that would be a meme. My face on I would like I told you I was
The
Italian. I had the
emoji.
accent. Yeah, the
The
emoji.
yeah.
But she was very. I think your family is very do good by. Be fair.
Mhm.
Yes, we're in a
Yeah.
game. You guys had the intercept card. Don't think you needed to be nasty, mean, or anything. You played the game right. The
Mhm.
outcome was exactly what you wanted. You stayed true to yourselves. You guys are stronger for it. RJ got what he wants, is going to get what he wants. But RJ, I want to hear the last word from you. Being on Extracted season 2 has taught
Hmm.
me.
Mhm.
Ooh, being on Extracted season 2 has taught me, I think, patience within myself, but also faith in family. I think wouldn't say I find it hard, but growing up, I know my family was really hard on me. I felt a lot of pressure to do things a certain way. And going on Attractive season 2 was, I think, like a culmination of everything that I've been experiencing through my late teens and early 20s of being able to express myself the way I want to and being accepted in that and being truly loved and seeing the appreciation for who I am and the person I've become.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. Well, a lot of people love you. You guys are fan favorites, and
Aw,
such a
thank
such a
you.
beautiful
Thank
family to
you.
to be with. Any last words for our viewers?
RJ.
Um,
No.
I'll I'll start. I guess you guys can, follow along, follow the journey of Reynolds Ranch on all my social media is visionary.rob or visionary Rob or not visionary Rob on Facebook.
I'll make sure to add the links. Yeah, look, a little Toto in there. It just
Yeah.
Oh, she
Your
wants to
dog.
be on
so
camera. This is
Oh,
cute.
Bella.
Bella.
Oh my God. That's so good. Tanisha,
Yeah.
what about you?
No, I'm looking forward to continuing life, continuing my financial advisory practice and supporting RJ in his endeavors. I mean, I'm excited about Reynolds Ranch. I want to go. I want to set it up. I want to go. And then I'm excited about, what's happening underneath that with Libera Misfits. And so just excited to watch it and watch Michaela, take her things, what she's doing as well. So
And this is a
just
great
excited.
experience and for your son, looking up to RJ and being like so
Oh,
fascinated, and you guys are celebrities to him. So
he
it's
loves
great.
RJ,
Yeah, I'm
he's
sure he
he's
does. Absolutely. Of
yeah, and our
course.
whole family,
I
Yeah.
know.
All of our
he's the
nieces.
superhero.
Yeah, he is just, yeah, they all just loved him.
Let's
I
give
have a
him a
niece who we just went and saw, and she was like, RJ's coming, RJ, RJ. And then she got so shy, even though she's seen him 100 times.
yeah, yeah.
But the minute she saw him, she got so shy and she was like hiding herself. And we were like, Camila, what are you doing? It's just RJ.
I know. I know.
But
Well, I'll
yeah.
make sure to
So,
add all the social media links as well so
okay,
people
good
know
Yeah.
where
stuff.
to follow you and we
Mhm.
can grow
Thank you.
that. And it's been a pleasure, you guys.
Thank
It's
you.
thank you for the last hour of insight on your family and spending it with me. And once this is all done, I'll send it to you guys and we can share the heck out of it.